In this video, what we're going to do is make a game of Catch the Clown. It'll be a simple game, but it will get us started on how we make video games in this class. You can see I get points, and the game goes on like so. So we're going to start by launching Gamemaker, and this is what Gamemaker looks like. And we're going to make a new game. And the first thing we need to realize in Gamemaker is that we deal with sprites. Sprites are pictures. So I'm going to right-click on sprites to select Create a New Sprite. And then in my computer, I've copied from drive W, I've copied a folder called Gamemaker Catch the Clown, and inside that folder there's a PDF file. The PDF file is a good read, and I'll encourage you to read through it. Talks about what we're going to do. And as well, in that folder there's another folder called Resources. If I open up the Resources and change my view to view the icons, you'll see there's a graphic of a clown, a graphic of a wall, some background music, some bounce music, and a red background. So I'm going to do that in Gamemaker. So I right-clicked and suggested to get a new sprite. I'm going to give the sprite a name, and with names you're not allowed to give it a space. So I'm going to use the 3 letters SPR to stand for sprite and give it a name of capital CLON, clown. And I'm going to load from drive H, excuse me, from that folder inside Gamemaker Catch the Clown in the resources, I'm going to load the clown picture. Some of the options in here that we can use for Catch the Clown are things like transparent. I can have the edges of this transparent. And I can also have precision collision checking. I don't really need that, so I'm going to turn it off. I might make it a bit smoother. And I can have the box that determines where collisions are, called the bounding box. And usually we want to use the full square for a bounding box. So there's a picture I have, a clown picture. The other picture I'm going to need to make this game is going to be a wall. So I'm going to do the same thing, right-click, create sprite, and load from that same folder a wall. The wall, though, I don't want to have any transparent colors because a wall is solid, just a solid picture. So I'm going to use the whole sprite. Okay, the next thing is sprites are just pictures. Really, in programming, what we deal with is objects. And objects are what makes our program run. So we can think of objects like in a soccer game. On a field, you'll have your soccer field, and that would be your background. You have sprites, might be the player's uniforms or the player pictures themselves. And then the objects are the actual players that move left, right when you press the keys. Kick the ball when you press kick the ball key. So that's a good analogy. So let's start by making objects. So objects, I'll create the first object, and again I give it a name. The name, I don't like to use spaces, so I go obj for object underscore clown, and I'm going to use the clown sprite. I select it by using the drop down list. I'm going to create another object called the wall, and I'll name it object wall, and all object wall is just going to be solid. So I put a check mark for solid. It does nothing. It's just going to stand there and do nothing. The clown's going to be a little different. What the clown's going to do, it's going to have some events, and with each event it's going to have some action. So the first event is going to be when the clown is actually created. So when the room starts up, the clown's created. What's the action going to be? Well, the action is going to be move left, right, up and down. And I'm going to give it a speed of 4. So I push down, and you'll see it highlights in blue the direction. So it's going to move left, right, up, and down at a speed of 4. And randomly, it's going to choose one of those directions. Another event it's going to have is a collision. It's going to collide with a wall. Oops, the wall doesn't have a sprite. I made a mistake there. Sorry, let's back up a step. The wall, which is solid, needs to have a picture. So I plaster the wall object with a picture of a sprite on it. Okay, so now you can see when I do a collision with object wall, I even see the little icon it's colliding with, a little thumbnail of the wall that it collides with. So when it collides with the wall, what I want it to do is I want it to bounce. So in here, I take the action and I drag into the action bounce, and I'm going to say OK. Precise? No, not precise against solid objects. So when it collides with a wall, in that event, that action takes place. In the event of create, this action takes place. Okay. Next thing I need to do is I'm going to make a background. I should have done that probably next. So again, just like with the others, I right click, I create background. I load the background from that same folder. And there we go. Nice red background. And then finally, I'm going to make a room for my game to play. So when I go create room, what I want to do is I'm going to change the grid to be 32 by 32. And the reason I change it to be 32 by 32 is when I go and select an object to add, such as object wall, it was exactly 32 by 32 pixels. So when I make a grid of 32, when I click with the left mouse, it will go exactly to the right spot. If I put a wall in the wrong spot, like I didn't want walls there, I can use the right mouse button to make it disappear. So I'm going to make a room, and all I'm going to do is put a bunch of walls. And then I'm going to finally put a clown in here, and I can press play, and I can see the game. Now, I haven't really made this a game yet because there's no action to take place when I click on the clown, and I'm going to do that next. So I press play, and you'll see the clown should bounce against the walls. It starts moving in a random direction and just bounces against the wall. Okay, now to make the game a little bit more fun, I'm going to add another action to object clown. So I'm going to go back here to objects, and in object clown, I'm going to add another and last thing, which is going to be a mouse event. Mouse with the regular clicking button, and we usually click with the left button, so I'm going to say mouse left button. So the event is pressing the left button, and what's going to happen, it's going to make the clown move in a direction, a different direction, at a speed of 1 more relative. Also, I'm going to go to score, and I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to add 10, and by checking relative, it's going to make it go faster.